If you were broken down to every cell and atom, copied and recreated, would you still be you? Or would you be someone completely different wearing the same skin? This is one of the dilemmas that bog down the teleportation system within Tower of Fantasy. But this also extends to one of the most sophisticated systems ever created within the vast research labs of Hykros, the Simulacrum System. In this video, we're going to talk about the lore of the Simulacrum System and what it is in the world of Tower of Fantasy, how Hykros uses it, and how one would be qualified to become an engram within the system. Now, simulacrum means an image or representation of someone or something. Usually, this thing is imperfect to the original, but close enough to be nearly indistinguishable. The Simulacrum System works in a similar way. It creates an engram of the subject, converting its host's personality and behavior into an AI algorithm, then saves it within the database of Hykros' systems. Then this engram can be used to recreate the subject in other forms and uses. Hykros has been working on a method of immortality for a long time, and one of the methods they created to achieve this is the Simulacrum System, alongside other projects. As a byproduct of this objective, the system was also used for other things such as combat, AI, and medical purposes. Of these three, combat is what it seems to be what it was most used for, but not exactly what it was designed for. Let's go over some of the uses of the Simulacrum System within the game's lore. Now, one of the things I mentioned is combat. The Simulacrum System can be used for combat and is actually one of the things they used it for. It was even iterated on 3 times, and it turned out to be the Gacha system that we know today. Using the system, one can draw upon the knowledge of a master of whatever weapon they wield. And even if you don't use any weapons, you can instantly learn how to use whatever weapon you wish as long as an AI who knows how to use it is within the system. But not only that, the Simulacrum even allows reconstruction of the person in question. So if you doubt your own abilities, you can call upon the AI and have it take over your body as an automatic system. They call this the mimicry system. This is how our main character can take on the forms of the other characters. Now, not only is their combat capabilities retained, so is their memories and personalities. But the AI itself, while aware that it is just an AI, doesn't really have any feelings of wanting to become the real one. Probably some failsafes have been installed, so the AIs don't feel like wiping out humanity. Which is good, because you know how that would probably turn out. The Simulacrum also allows the user to even summon the very weapons used by the AI, generating it through data and materializing it almost from nothing. In terms of combat capabilities, the Simulacrum System has gone through 3 different generations, but we don't know what the other 2 older generations were like. Probably wasn't a gacha system like it is now. Now, aside from combat capabilities, the Simulacrum can also be used for medical means, though we once again fall upon the question I asked in the beginning. If you were broken down to every cell and atom, copied and then recreated, would you still be you? You see, in the distant future of Tower of Fantasy, there are still diseases that can't be cured. Well, at least not in the natural sense. But one of the applications of the Simulacrum System that Hykros proposed is a sort of last resort medical operation to transfer one's complete consciousness, memories, and personality into a newly created body that can be edited using the Simulacrum System. As we already mentioned that the Simulacrum System itself can generate the weapons of the AI, so with enough tweaks and research, they'll also be able to generate a new body using the system. The body would be an exact match of the target subject, then it can be edited to remove unwanted objects such as an illness. Unfortunately, this research is still in development. Upon their testing on 11 subjects, only 2 survived, and even the 2 surviving subjects would be put into a coma. This is because instead of using copy-paste, they used cut-paste, so their original disappeared. According to Dr. Joaquin, it's because the 2 sets of data extracted from the subject, those being the mind and the body, would react violently, rejecting each other and not allowing the body and the consciousness to connect. thus leaving the mind without a body and the body without a mind. For now though, Hykros is still working on a way to awaken the subjects, and according to Dr. Joaquin, are very close to a breakthrough. Although I would say that this is not really that much needed anymore, as they have already figured out a way to stop time from affecting their bodies. Thus, they should no longer contract any illnesses and would no longer suffer cellular degradation. Finally, the last of what the simulacrum is used for is the AI. The AI consciousness of the simulacrums. As I mentioned before, the simulacrums themselves are AI engrams of individuals whose talents and abilities are deemed valuable or are part of research conducted to furthering the system. But what happens to these AI consciousness once they're within the simulacrum system? Well, while they keep the personality of the person they copied, they are technically free as an AI. They're free to contact and talk to the people who use the simulacrum system, probably with some restrictions though, kind of like the laws of robotics or something like that. Now, leveling up friendships between the AIs will allow us to talk to them, and even in conversation, they are pretty much like the original. I admit though, this is kind of creepy when you think about it, like talking to the person that you want to talk to, but not really, and you're just talking to an AI copy of them. So it's a little creepy for sure. But there is a benefit to this. Since in the combat section of the simulacrum, the AI is able to take over like an autopilot, and though the AI will always fight accordingly because of the instructions programmed into it, they may also take personal feelings into account, meaning an AI who is fond of the user will fight harder and something like that. That's why when you unlock the friendships of the characters or the AIs, they get extra abilities the more, well, gifts you give them, which is also kind of weird because they're in the simulacrum, so how do you give them gifts? I'm not too sure. But it's kind of clear that the simulacrum wasn't initially designed for combat. So I see this friendship thing as more of a defect of the simulacrum than an actual advantage. Now, what is more important to Hykros is that the AI can be consulted by the researchers. This allows them to use the expertise of the original as if they were there and working on the research itself. Although, of course, it is not a perfect copy, so there will be limitations. So what the simulacrum can actually provide is expertise, intelligence of the individuals that they copied from, regardless of if those individuals joined Hykros or not. Now, those three are what the simulacrum system is mostly used for by Hykros at the moment. Now let's talk about how one would be qualified and poached into allowing Hykros to create an engram of you. Mostly, the engrams within the systems are either already members of Hykros or are special individuals within either that have unique talents, whether it be fighting capability, intelligence, or something else entirely. Hykros would normally offer employment alongside all the benefits that it comes with, but favors and other requests are also acceptable. For instance, King, who was poached for his fighting prowess, was offered employment at first, but King requested to be paid cash instead in a one-time full payment. Seeing as that is actually a more favorable deal for Hykros, they obliged and paid him a decent sum, and in exchange they were able to create an engram of King. Then there's Zero, who was chosen for his intelligence, as he once hacked into Hykros' systems and once discovered was approached by Hykros not to reprimand him, but to instead offer to work with him, eventually putting him as a person of interest and giving him secrecy in exchange for uploading himself within the simulacrum system. Now, there are other examples, but we'll go through them another time. The simulacrum system is definitely one of the interesting systems within the lore of Tower Fantasy. Not the gacha itself, but like the lore simulacrum system. But seems like it could be a doomsday device if ever abused, or if simply something goes wrong with it. I find gacha games where they incorporate the system itself of the gacha into the lore fairly interesting, because usually it doesn't make any sense, but for this, it kinda does a little bit. But what do you guys think though? Is this a product of a utopia or a dystopia? Is this creepy or is this something that already happens today? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching.